Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Going to do something a bit different for you today. So stick around to the end of this video because I'm going to give you a 3D walkthrough on one of my properties. And as we go through, I'm going to draw up the kind of things that you need to look for when you do a maintenance inspection or generic inspection of a HMO property. So don't forget to click on the subscribe button and click on that like button and the bell notification so you don't miss any of my forthcoming videos. Okay, so we have got a 3D render that we have just started to use in all of our HMO properties. Now this is called Matterport, and check out one of my videos that I did actually a walkthrough as a vlog when the Matterport person was there going through and taking all of the 3D renders. Now we use the Matterport in order to give to our prospective tenants so we can do virtual viewings and we can do virtual sort of sales. So we actually sell rooms, or rent rooms I should say. Some people get a bit confused when I say sell. But when we rent rooms, we do a lot of it now virtually because of the pandemic. So to use this kind of 3D render is just a great way of moving forwards and future-proofing our business. So for today, I'm going to use this to give you a walk through the whole of the property and share with you what kind of things we look for when we do a house inspection. So let's do it. So this is, let me just refresh this. So here we go. So this is our 3D render. Now we can have a whole view of the house here. So we can look at the whole house, spin it round, bird's eye view from the top. And of course we can see where we want to go into the property. So what we'll do is we'll start at the front door, which is here. So let's go into the house. Right, so we've just entered into the property and we've just gone through the front door. And what sort of things should we be looking for? Now, forgive these jagged edges, etc. that you can see. Obviously the lampshade doesn't look like that. It's just the 3D render. It's just sometimes how it ends up. So when we walk through the front door, the first thing we're going to do, let's spin round and let's look at the door. So as we walk into the house, we want to make sure that the first thing we look for is this here. So the thumb turn lock. So you can see on here we've got Euro thumb turn locks, and that's to make sure that all of the tenants can exit the building without the need of a key. So we're just going to make sure it works and we're going to make sure it's safe. Looking at the general tidiness and the general condition of the door and making sure that there are no issues. So as we come in, one of the first things that I look for is, let's look down onto the floor here, the carpet. What sort of condition is the carpet in? Is it in good order? Does it need cleaning? Those are the first couple of things that we're going to look for. And as we walk through the hallway, as you can see now, that light fitting looks a lot better. We're looking for any obstructions. So we need to make sure there's nothing on either side of the hallway. Sometimes tenants like to put their bikes in the hallway, so we make sure that there's nothing there and nothing that causes any obstruction. Now you can see here that we've got a consumer unit, and that's a sealed one. It's compliant to today's standards. And on the left hand side here we've got a fire alarm call point. Now we'll talk about the fire alarms as we move through the house. So as we go through the house, and we can click forward. Now we're still in the hallway here. So the next thing I'm going to look at is the thermostat. What temperature is the thermostat on? Now we don't want to be playing cat and mouse, but we need to make sure that if it's summer, it's not switched to 30 degrees, etc. And just use a little bit of your common sense. And then we've got the fire extinguishers. So we'll do the fire safety. Let's just turn around back into the hall. We'll do the fire safety as we move through. But then looking back into the hall now, we can see there are no obstacles. Everything's nice and tidy. So that's fine. The next thing we're looking for are light bulbs. So we're just going to switch the lights on and we're going to check to see if they're working. So let's move back here because we've got a room on this side. So we're going to go into room number 1. So the first thing we're looking for on room 1 is the fire door. First of all, it should have a closer on the top or something called a perco strip, which is a little chain that would fit in between the door and the door frame. So we need to make sure that the closer is in working order, and we need to test that the fire door is closing properly. Now you'll see here there is a door stop. That's a definite no-no. So the first thing we're going to do is take away the door stop, and we're going to check that the fire door closes properly as it should do. That's the first check. Then we're going to check to make sure that the keys work correctly, and the keys and the locking system on the door is in good order. And then we're going to enter the room. Now the things that we're looking for in the room, each room will be different. General condition, is it tidy? Is it clean? Is there any evidence of any of the tenants having guests over? Because our rooms offer single occupation. So we're going to check to make sure the room is clean and there is no evidence of any tenants having guests staying over. Then we're going to check the light switch, making sure it's in good order, doing a visual inspection and making sure that the light turns on. And then we're going to look at the furniture. So we're going to open the doors of the wardrobe, chest of drawers, just to make sure the furniture is all in good order. And we're inspecting to make sure it's not falling apart. And of course the carpet, is the carpet in good order? Everything seems to be fine in here. The smoke alarm is unobstructed. So we're going to move over now to the windows, and we're going to check on the windows that they open and close correctly, they're secure, and if they've got any kind of safety locking system, so some windows might have to have a restrictor fitted to them to prevent the tenant from falling out, making sure the tenant hasn't removed any restriction type system. So making sure that all of the windows are in good order, they can open, they're clean and they're tidy. Visual inspection of the bed just to make sure it's not about to fall apart. And then we're looking for things like extension leads. Now, our HMOs have got 6 plug sockets. So you can see 2 here, 2 here, and there's also 2 next to the bed. I think it's probably behind the bed. You can't see it there. It's a little bit blurred. But we've got 6 plug sockets. So there should be no need for the tenant to have to run any extension leads behind any of the existing fittings. So that shouldn't need to be happening at all. We don't want extension leads. So if there are, then we need to make sure that we tell the tenants they can't use them. Now, the next element is the radiator. So we've got the radiator here. You can see there's a thermostatic valve fitted. We're just going to make sure that it's working. We do a visual inspection and a twist just to make sure that the valve is working. Now, of course, here we've got a television. We provide television in some of our properties, not all of them. So we're quite happy in this room. Nothing else really that we need to do. All good. So we're going to walk out of the room. Now we're going to conduct that level of testing in all of the rooms. So all of the rooms are very similar. This one's actually got a patio door as well, which makes it even more desirable because it goes onto the patio. But the same in every room, visual inspections, making sure the smoke alarm system isn't obscured, making sure that the property is not occupied by more than one person. In rooms that have got sink units or vanity units, we're going to check the taps. We're going to make sure that the sink unit is draining properly, and we're going to check the trap underneath. So if this is a 6 monthly inspection, we'll go into this little vanity unit, we'll open the doors and we'll undo the trap to make sure that it's not got lots of rubbish, hair, etc., which will prevent the unit from draining. So all of those checks will be conducted in each of the rooms. Now let's look at the fire alarm system. So this is a grade A panel system, and this is one that has call points like you saw when we first went into the property. Let's just go back so you can see. Oops, I've gone a little bit too far there. So when you walked in, you see that we've got a call point on the wall here, and there's one on each floor. So what we're going to do now is make sure that the fire testing logbook is kept up to date. Let me come back out of here and try and see if I can. Here we go. So we've got a testing logbook which is kept on top of the fire alarm, and we're just going to make sure that our maintenance team are keeping this up to date. Now, Fire alarm tests and fire alarm certification I've covered on a different video. We're not here to test the fire alarms on this occasion, but we are going to make sure that they are being tested. So we're just going to open up the manual and we're going to make sure that the fire alarms are being tested and they are currently up to date. So then we're going to walk into the living room. So it's the same kind of inspection in the living room. First of all, is it clean and tidy? Does it look smart? Does it look clean? Then we're going to make sure that the light fittings work. We're going to make sure the smoke alarm, which is here, as you can see, is unobstructed. We're going to make sure the bulbs are all in working order. We're making sure the curtain poles are not falling apart, the curtains can draw, and of course the windows can all open freely and they're clean. Now we don't want any obstructions in the lounge either that's going to prevent anybody from escaping in the event of a fire. So the whole of this all needs to be kept clear. Now we need to make sure we test the fire door the same as before. This is all because of the Matterport render. It looks a bit unkept there. It actually doesn't look like that in real life. We're making sure the door closer works and we're making sure that the door handle works and of course they're not wedged open. Then we've got the radiator again, thermostatic valve check to make sure that's in order and a general look around. Furniture in good order. Everything looks fine in here. Now if you have a television, you can just check and turn the television on to make sure that that's all good. Now we're going to walk into the kitchen. Now the first thing in the kitchen we're going to look at, is it clean? Are the tenants keeping the kitchen clean? So we walked into the kitchen, again, fire door wedged open. We must take those wedges away. If we have any tenants that use these wedges, we remove them from the property. Making sure that the door opens freely and of course closes with the door closer here and making sure it closes properly, not with a gap. So then we're going to walk into the kitchen in itself. Let me just turn around if I can. We got a little bit stuck here. Let me go back up. And we're going to check to make sure that the kitchen sink is nice and clean. And we're going to make sure that the kitchen taps are secure and they don't leak, and making sure that the tap system itself isn't wobbly. We're going to make sure the kitchen window's open and we're going to check the trap underneath the sink as we did with the vanity unit in the bedroom. Are the cupboards all good? So we're going to open all of the cupboards and check the hinges to make sure that they're not about to fall off. We're going to make sure the boiler doesn't need topping up with water. So if we open this little hatch here, there's a gauge and it will tell you what the pressure of the boiler is. Sometimes boiler pressures do fall. So we're going to make sure that that's all in good order. And then we're going to move over to the cooker. Let's just spin this round. Okay, so is the cooker nice and clean? Is the hob clean? Are the traps on the extractor clean? Let me try and get a better view there for you. So underneath, we probably can't. No, it's not letting me. So underneath the cooker, you'll see, above the cooker, you'll see that we've got the extractor, and then we'll have some charcoal. Can I try and get a better view? No, it won't let me. Some charcoal filters. Now, very often they will get covered in muck and covered in grease, which will prevent them from functioning correctly and drawing up the air. So are they clean? If they're not clean, we must take them off and make sure that we clean them. Then the actual cooker itself, we're going to open it, we're going to make sure it's clean and tidy, and we're going to turn on the knobs to make sure it's fully functioning. So we're all good so far. Now look at the floor, general inspection, is the floor clean and tidy? And then we're going to find the bin area. So here you can see we've got 2 bins. Now, this property is currently unoccupied because we've only just finished it, but we're going to make sure that the bins are labelled, one for general waste and one for recycling. And what we have normally is a sign behind the bins giving the tenants instructions on what they can put in each bin because, you know, just tenants need that. So once we've done the bins and they're clean and tidy, we're happy, then we're going to look at the fridges and we're going to open both fridges and we're going to look for things like rotten food from tenants, and we're going to look for icing. Is the fridge icing? Does it need to be defrosted? And if it does, then we'll make plans with the tenants in the future so we can come over, remove their items from the fridge and defrost the fridge and potentially defrost the freezer for them as well. So that's your fridges and freezers. Now we've got a small cloakroom here, little toilet. So downstairs toilet, we're going to make sure that the toilet system's working properly. There are no leaks. It's not continually filling with water, because then that means that there's an issue with the plumbing and the ball cock. And we're just going to make sure it's generally clean and tidy. Then we're going to make sure that the taps are fitted properly, they're not leaking, and the sink is draining away. That's in the downstairs cloakroom. Now, if you've got washing machines, which I presume you will have, we're not going to turn them on, we're not going to do a cycle, but it's going to be a physical inspection, clean and tidy, making sure that everything looks in order. This is a tumble dryer. Now you can have two types of tumble dryer. You can have a vented tumble dryer, or you can have a tumble dryer that is operated by pulling out a tray and draining away the water. Now both tumble dryers will get a buildup of lint. Lint is where the fabric of the clothes that go into the tumble dryer will collect, and it will go into a filter. So we need to make sure the filter is clean, because if the filter is not clean, it will prevent the tumble dryer from working and it will stop working. Visual inspection of the microwave, making sure it's clean and tidy, and of course an inspection of the rear door. So on the rear door, making sure that it's shutting properly, security is in order, and the tenants can get out in the event of any fire. Okay, so that's downstairs. Now let's go through back up to the upstairs, and we're going to just do visual inspections as we go, making a note of anything that needs to be done. So now we're going to go up the stairs. We're going to check the banister to make sure it's safe and make sure it's not loose or wobbly, making sure there are no carpets or carpet tiles loose or wobbly. And we're going to go up the stairs, looking for any hazards, any obstructions, and general clean and tidiness. So each room is going to be the same as downstairs, but I'll take you in these rooms anyway, just to show you what we've got here. Nice little room there, all compliant within the minimum room size requirements, of course. Into this room here. And this is a lovely room. This is quite a big room actually, nice ensuite. So ensuite bathrooms, making sure that they are clean and tidy, making sure the showers work, making sure the ventilators, that's not the right word, is it? Making sure that the vents and the extraction fans, not the ventilators, are all work and they're free from a buildup of dust. Making sure the showers drain properly, that's quite a big one. Taking away the trap from the shower drain and making sure it's free of any obstructions, usually bodily hair. But we do have to do that because the tenants won't do it, and that will prevent the shower from draining. Toilet, making sure it flushes, making sure it's generally kept and clean and tidy, making sure visual inspection of all of the furniture, that's all nice and tidy. Now here's an example of the windows. So this window here has a restrictor on it, so it will open, but it will only open so far. So we need to make sure that the tenants haven't tampered with that and they haven't removed the restrictor. Thermostatic valves, making sure they're working. And again, a restrictor on this one, particularly because it's next to the bed. Visual inspection of the bed, visual inspection of the carpets, making sure that that's all good. And of course, the fire door. So we check all of the fire doors and remove the door stops. So that's all of the bedrooms. That's what we do in all of them. So we just take you through all of these little rooms. Lovely rooms, nice location as well, this particular property. And then fire extinguishers. Now, these should be checked periodically along with your regulations for your area, and the results need to be put in the fire logbook, which I just showed you. But we're just going to do a physical inspection, a visual inspection of the fire extinguisher to make sure it's not been tampered with. So we're looking at this clip here to make sure it's not been split, because if it's been used, that will be broken, and making sure that the pressure isn't down to zero, otherwise there's a problem and it's leaking. And then we're into the main bathroom. So very similar inspections in the main bathroom. This is a shower room, so making sure the toilet is clean and tidy, it flushes properly, it's not continually running with water, making sure that the windows are easy to open and there's enough ventilation, thermostatic valves, making sure the traps in the sink and the shower, this is the shower, are working correctly, turning the shower on, testing the water, making sure it's working correctly, and just a visual inspection. And that's the main bedroom. So we've also got fire emergency lights here. They will be covered on your emergency light testing. So I'm not going to cover that now. That is for another day. So again, walking back out of the property, making sure the carpets are clean and tidy, no obstructions to the fire escape route, all the way down the stairs. Nice house, nice and tidy. We're happy. We've checked all of the boxes and we're going to leave the property. And then we're going to go back outside. So there you have it, folks. That's what we do on our inspections. So there may be things that we haven't covered there, but in general, the things that we're looking for are fire hazards, trip hazards, making sure that the property is functional, it's clean and tidy, and it's being well looked after. So if you're interested in Matterport, I have got a video that goes through the process on how the Matterport is done, where I interview the person that came out and actually did this. But those are a few tips for you on how we do our property walkthroughs and our routine visits. How often do we do a check? That's up to you. I would say a minimum of 6 months, but no more than 3 months. We don't want to be going every month because we have to give the tenant the quiet enjoyment of the property, and we don't want to be a pain unless we have to. So I hope that was useful for you. If it was, please leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts, and if I've missed anything, please do comment below. It's not an exhaustive list. There are other things potentially that you'll be looking for that we may have missed, and I'll really welcome your thoughts on that as well, folks. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to click that subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next one.